Hello everyone, today is January 26, 2026, and we're looking at a situation in southern Lebanon that is rapidly reaching a boiling point. I want to start with a report that just came in from Jewish News Syndicate, JNS, that reports on a massive interruption to Hezbollah weapons systems from being rebuilt in southern Lebanon that the IDF has destroyed. Israel strikes Hezbollah terrorist near Tyre in Lebanon. Earlier, the IDF killed a local commander of the Iranian terror proxy's artillery in the same vicinity. This report is from January 26, 2026 by JNS. The Israeli Defense Forces struck a Hezbollah terrorist in the Tyre area of southern Lebanon on Monday, the military said, in response to the Iranian terror proxy's repeated violations of the ceasefire understandings. On Sunday night, the IDF said it eliminated the local head of artillery for the Iranian-backed Hezbollah terrorist army in Arzoon, a village near Tyre. Mohammed al-Husseini advanced numerous terrorist attacks against the State of Israel and IDF troops during the war and recently took part in attempts to restore Hezbollah's artillery abilities, the IDF said. The IDF has confirmed the elimination of a man named Mohammed al-Husseini. He wasn't just any operative. He was the local head of artillery for Hezbollah in the Arzoon area near Tyre. But here's the detail that shows you how tricky these people present themselves in their everyday lives. The IDF notes that while al-Husseini was coordinating artillery strikes and trying to rebuild Hezbollah's rocket capabilities, his day job was working as a school teacher. This is the human shield reality. A man teaching children by day is planning how to rain fire on Israeli civilians by night. It shows you exactly how deeply this terror infrastructure is woven into the civilian fabric. Now, you might be thinking, wait, wasn't there a ceasefire? Yes, there was, back in November 2024. A deal was signed that was supposed to clear Hezbollah out of southern Lebanon. The agreement was simple. Hezbollah goes north, the Lebanese army moves in, and the weapons disappear. But look at the evidence from just this past week. The IDF isn't just hitting random targets. They're hitting restoration projects. The IDF killed Jawad Basma, a specialist at a weapons manufacturing site. They killed Mohammed Awasha, a smuggler bringing gear in from Syria. And now they've taken out the artillery commander al-Husseini. So let's look at the map to understand why these locations are so significant. The blue line, look at the bottom of your screen. That's the border established in 2000. That is the front line. The turquoise line above that is the Litani River, about 15 miles north of the border. The golden rule of the 2024 treaty was this: everything in this 15-mile gap between the blue line and that turquoise line is supposed to be clear of terrorists. But these recent strikes in Arzoon and Tyre, those places are firmly inside that restricted zone. This proves that the rearmament isn't just happening in distant warehouses in Beirut. It's happening right in the front yard of the Israeli border. The treaty is being ignored. Is this a big kill? In an army of 100,000, losing one commander might seem small, but tactically it's huge. Artillery is Hezbollah's primary tool for keeping the Galilee empty. To understand why Israel is striking so hard right now, you have to understand the Radwan Force. The Radwan Force are Hezbollah's elite Iranian-trained commando unit. Their mission is infiltration, while other units fire rockets from a distance. The Radwan Force is trained to cross the border, seize Israeli towns, and take hostages, essentially an October 7th style invasion, but on a much larger and more professional scale. For years, they've been sitting right on the border fence, looking into Israeli living rooms through binoculars. That brings us to Galilee, which is the entire northern region of Israel that borders Lebanon. When you hear about Israelis being forced out or chased out, this is the area. These displaced residents of the north want to go home, but they're understandably terrified. They want a buffer zone they can trust. We all remember the horrors of October 7th, 2023, when Hamas launched that barbaric massacre at the Nova Music Festival, killing over 360 young people. But what people often forget is that just one day later, October 8th, Hezbollah opened a second front from the north. They didn't wait for an Israeli response. They just chose to join the fight, forcing 100,000 people in the Galilee to flee their homes. This is why the IDF is so determined today. They cannot and will not allow a Nova-style massacre to happen in the north at the hands of the Radwan force. As of early 2026, despite the 2024 treaty, many of these towns in the north are still ghost towns. The people are refusing to move their children back to the border as long as teachers like al-Husseini are secretly rebuilding artillery units in the backyard. For these families, the war isn't over until the threat of invasion is physically removed. So if Hezbollah can't rebuild their artillery units, they can't threaten the return of Israeli citizens to their homes. By taking out the architects of the reconstruction, the guys who know where the secret tunnels were and how to set up the new launchers, Israel is effectively mowing the grass before it can grow back into a forest. When you see a head of artillery and a weapons manufacturer killed in the same 48-hour window, it tells you that the ceasefire is essentially a paper peace, P-E-A-C-E. Hezbollah is rearming for round 2, and the IDF is determined to stop that powder keg from being refilled. We're watching the Watchman reports closely because this isn't just a border skirmish. It's a violation of a global agreement. But as we've seen today, the powder keg is being refilled and the safety of the Galilee hangs in the balance. If you found this update helpful and want to stay informed on the prophetic and strategic shifts in the Middle East as they happen, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. It helps me get these reports out to more people who need to see the truth of what's happening on the ground. Thank you so much for watching. Stay vigilant, and I'll see you in the next one.